On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about 4 tips on how to join a meetup group. So let's go ahead and start. Hi, I'm Gary Pope, and this is Late to the Table, where we talk about tips and tricks and literally, just like the intro said, these simple things that make your gaming experience just that much better. Now, when I started getting into gaming, it was great. I mean, I had a perfect game group. It was just a bunch of my friends that actually got me into gaming, and then from there, just basically started off. But I mean, of course, there was a problem. I mean, people grow up in their responsibilities. I mean, for example, I have one of my friends named Tony. He suddenly just decided to get up and move to Europe and start traveling across and getting jobs and going to school out in Europe. And I hope it was all worth it, Tony. I mean, we have like 40% left of a Risk Legacy campaign going on, and that box is getting kind of annoying to move around and stuff. Just throwing that out there. So because of this incident, I was forced beyond my will to go ahead and join a meetup group. So I ended up joining a meetup group. To be honest, first couple experiences were not all that great. The first time I actually went out to do anything, it was a 24-hour event, and I was only there for about 10 hours of it because of work. But I didn't enjoy really any of the games, and none of the people were really memorable. But I didn't feel a serious connection when I first met these people. They were just okay, I guess the best way to put it. But just to skip over to the end of the story, kind of, is I actually became great friends with just about everyone I met that day. Actually, the very first person I met is actually one of my best friends to this day. But then I had a second night, which was also not all that great. I went to a game store and I was there for 3 hours sitting in a chair. I was talking to people, and we were sitting there for 3 hours and we couldn't decide on a game to play. There's hundreds of games there, and everyone just kept turning down everyone's ideas. So that was just really annoying. We didn't play anything until the last 5 minutes that the store was open. We pulled out Bang the Dice game, and then we couldn't even finish the game. So once again, I was left a bit disappointed for the second time going to these meetup groups. Now, while save will end up happening for another time, what I'm trying to get at here is that I understand what new people run into when they're joining groups, and how daunting and how nerve-wracking and how sometimes bad it could just simply be. Hey buddy. All right. So this is this is 4 tips on how to join a meetup group to avoid what I did. All right, so I'm just going to do my best. What's his name? Burger dude. Playing in his apartment, eating burgers. He was on Baywatch. Someone say in the comments who that dude was. Alright, so tip number 1 is to know a decent range of games. When I say this, I mean know at least one game that's 5 to 20 minutes, hey buddy. And know at least one game that's around 20 to 60 minutes, like a medium weight game. And then know, just after that, just know some of your favorite games at that point. The reason why I say this though is because in my situation, what happened was that no one could decide on a game because everyone was bringing up longer games or medium-sized games, and no one wanted to get stuck into something that was going to last about 45 minutes to an hour. So that's why I say learn something that's 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes, because it's really hard to say no, even if you don't like the game. All right, time to go back inside. I need to get ready. Come on, Koba, let's go. All right, but tip number 2 is to become a yes man. Now, even though it contradicts what I just said about knowing a few games, I think the first few times you go out to an event, you really should be a yes man, woman, turtle, whatever, but really should just be saying yes to just about everything. The reason why is that I run into so many people that go out to these meetups and they just plop down games and all they're expecting to do is play their games, which there's nothing wrong with wanting to play your own games, but the thing is that this is, when we talk about board games, we say that things are more about the people rather than the games themselves. Doing this gives the impression that it's more about the games themselves rather than the people. And trust me, if you're going out to a bunch of these meetups, you're definitely going to have more than enough time to play these games. So I just say, for the first time, just be happy that you're meeting new people and you're being introduced to new people, and just be a yes person. There it is, yes person. That's way better. Now, tip number 3 is probably actually one of the more important ones, and it's to communicate before you go to the events. This tip is crucial though, because you need to get a feeler before you go out to these events, and also it helps lubricate the communication you have with people before you go so much. Instead of having to sit there, worry about meeting people, talking to who, seeing who's doing what, you can half the time probably already plan a game, plan who you're playing with, already know who they look like, already talk to them a couple times, and just hit it right off once you get there. It's also a great way to figure out how the group actually kind of runs before you even go. For example, if you message people on the board and people respond, you're like, oh great, there's a super active group. But if no one responds, and you could expect to put your expectations a little bit lower. Also bear in mind though, for groups where people don't respond, just be aware that there are some groups out there that just don't have phones attached to their hips, so they just may not be as active online, but they're still active in person. I mean, for example, one game night I run will maybe have 1 or 2 people comment every single week, and it's mostly me, and there's sometimes 30 to 60 people that show up every month. Need to close this. Serious juggling act over here. But yeah, tip number 4 is to just simply go. Sorry that builds up a whole lot of suspense there for number 4, but it really is as simple as that. No, but really just go out to the game night. It's only 1 or 2 days out of your night, so it's better to do that than to not do it at all. I mean, if you think about it, it's better to have found out that these things can happen, or it sucked, or it was great, rather than just not knowing at all. It's just a basic life experience. And also, just a side note, I would definitely try going to multiple game nights rather than just 1 or 2. I mean, in my instance, I went to 2 bad ones at first, and it worked out for me in the long run. The reason why I say that, though, is because you never know. Nights might be different. You might go on one day, and the heavy Euro guys might be there on one night, and you're a heavy Euro person yourself, and they just weren't there that day. So maybe they're there next week, and you decide not to go next week, so you just missed out on an opportunity. But yeah, you should definitely go out, because you could turn your game night from something small, or maybe inclusive, or maybe non-existent, something similar to this.
And it could turn into something like this.
Creek, but those are bigger creek. But those are 4 tips on how you can go ahead and join a gaming group, or almost kind of any group for that matter. But let me know in the comments below, what are some of your tips for joining a meetup group, or what are some of your experiences in joining a meetup group, whether if it's good or a bad experience. I know we've all had them. That is, those of us that have gone to meetup groups. And before we end this video, I actually just have a special announcement. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching the channel and checking out, and just want to show my thanks by doing like a little secret hidden contest in this. I didn't want to announce at the beginning of the video, because I just wanted to keep this for people that really seem to be enjoying this video for the, I guess you could say, the entirety. But thank you for watching. And to award you guys, I'm actually going to be delivering 2 games. The first thing is that I'm actually going to be doing several contests for actually the span of, I think, almost all of June, and maybe even into a little bit of July if I can do it while at Dice Tower Con. All you have to do is just enter in the comments down below and like the video, and that's really it. And no matter what you say, whether if you had a good experience, bad experience, doesn't matter, you're entered. And you don't have to say anything specific, but I guess you could try keeping it towards Meetup, I guess, whatever. But the first game is going to be Siege Storm, which is a 2-player game. This was made by Awaken Realms, and yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but it seems pretty interesting. And the other one is Mask of Moai, which is a VR board game from South Korea, if I'm not mistaken, which is a really cool game. I mean, you have to put on a mask, and people go into a temple, and they have to look around. And while you say, how is it a VR and a board game at the same time, it's because one person is going inside the temple and telling others what they see, and then everyone else is playing a board game where they're trying to build that temple. And then with knowing the rules of the game, they're trying to piece together how the temple is structured entirely. Really cool game. I enjoyed this one a lot. But yeah, I'm giving away both these games, both Mask of Moai and Siege Storm. So if you comment down below, you'll be entered to get these. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and it's always the simple things in life that make a difference.